Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. The information here is strictly for educational purposes only and is not a recommendation to trade. You are solely responsible for your own trading actions. No members of DSC Capital were harmed in the making of this video.
Good afternoon, everyone. LordSeanConnery here, along with Mohammed, and this is Nostradamus. We're going to talk about the crude oil futures markets and what we believe some of the possible scenarios for this coming week.
Yeah, this should be, I think, an interesting week to see what plays out.
Yes. So last week we really did hold. On Monday, we held above this like really nice LVN area that Mohammed is marking, and from there the market took like a nice a move to the upside. And Wednesday was looking really nice. One time framing up, and then Trump just threw a fucking grenade in the room. Had to deal with Iran and the executions dropping, and oil dropped $2 in 5 minutes. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And then there was some news to bring it back to the upside with some explosions happening in Tehran. So Wednesday was absolutely nuts. Thursday was options expiration, and it was a very muted day. And then Friday was also pretty muted. There wasn't enough. I don't know. There wasn't enough interest to get things moving to the upside, but it was holding Thursday's area. So, in my belief, Thursday's options around that 59 area, anywhere just within the meat of where the action traded Thursday. There are two scenarios that could take place. I'm going to go with one of the scenarios. So one of the scenarios is that we, wherever we open today, the first test I would like to see, and we don't know which one's going to happen first, but if we were to pull in and actually hold Thursday's low, along with Friday's Globex low, and hold that action and start to migrate upwards, if we can get above Friday's high, if we don't fail to take out Friday's high and maybe take it out, pull back, we could actually see this oil market possibly move up, pending news, to recheck around this 6160 area. That was the full session VPOC of Wednesday before all hell broke loose. And this is on the H contract. And then from there, really, if there's enough interest, we could pop that high, and this could be where we have a higher overall weekly low and a possible higher weekly high. We could actually not take the weekly high out at 62.22. It's just a lot of stuff to work through from Wednesday's action, especially with all that news. But that is the primary, one of the scenarios. I don't want to call it a primary or a secondary, like I favor one over the other, because really this fucker's a coin flip. Because, there's a variant to this, is we could, test Thursday and Friday's low, to check around it, and then attempt to break Friday, but fall short. And then, if there's not enough not enough interest to get us above Friday's high and squeeze it, get it moving back up, we could come back in to that balance area below us, which is, I believe, like just shy of like 5870s. In my opinion, if we do break Thursday's low, and I think that's a scenario that you're going to go over, we could fall back in, and there's some possibility to test much lower. But overall, the up scenario is holding Thursday and Friday's action and getting above Friday. And getting above Friday, that is the primary up scenario. Ending news, we don't know if there's going to be some increased geopolitical conflict that goes on, or some, I don't know, dick tugging with Venezuela. If we had the Palantir, from Lord of the Rings, or the magical crystal ball, then we would place our bets and just walk away from the computers. But no, we don't have such power. But that is what I'm thinking for the upside scenario. And Mohammed, if you want to go through the downside scenario,
Yeah,
that's all up to you.
I'll just add as well to the upside scenario. What I'm pretty much watching for is what does the market do against all this area from Thursday. It I'm not really paying attention to if there's a higher low against Thursday or Friday. For me, it's more so about does the market, one, does it get above this area, and then two, if we're above it, can it hold on a retest? That's pretty much all I'm watching for to see if this is gonna head higher. Now, another like sort of variation of this scenario would be, let's say it breaks Thursday's low, but then it somehow springs back up, and then that could just be another variation of the long. But overall, I agree with you. I think the Friday's high as well as Thursday's action, I think this is going to be a key. I really think this is going to be the over under for the week. What does the market do around here? If we're holding below, expect the lower. If it's above it, look for higher. But I really like that scenario.
I do like the variant that you mentioned. We don't have to hold Thursday and Friday's low. We could dip into it, and we could technically hold Monday's Globex, the Globex of last week. That was at 58.34, I believe. So if we dip that far down, as long as we can get a swift rejection out of there and come back in, that would also be a nice variant.
Yeah.
So that'd be
then,
good. And that's fine. We could take out RTH time framing, or even that's okay, just as long as we see the response that is needed to say, okay, we could get a good chance for some more upside.
Yeah, for sure. And then for the short scenario, what I'm paying attention to is, well, we have Thursday's action over here. Friday was pretty much an inside day. So really the first area of interest is going to be the Thursday's low. I want to see how this is going to break. If this is breaking and we're seeing a new selling come in, like, and we have some sort of something that tells us that sellers are in control, whether that's a low volume area, singles, or something like that, as long as the market breaks through and it's unable to get back above, then I'm pretty much interested in the market continuing lower. The first area just becomes this VPOC from Monday, which, we closed way up here. Let me just fix that circle. So we closed way up here, value was left behind. So, and to be honest, I was expecting this value to be checked on Friday. It didn't do it, so this just becomes like an area to watch. If there's no reaction at that VPOC, then obviously the next area becomes sort of the next price, which was highly accepted, which is down here around the 58, 57, 90s. And if that doesn't hold, then I'm expecting the market to fill in this area, which it shows a little bit better on the weekly profile, which I'll show right now. But all this sort of weak, thin area, thin structure, I'll expect this to be filled in. We do also have a set of singles, and then this would be pretty much, the market is holding below this high volume area from Thursday. We see the aggressive sellers picking up below Thursday's low, and then we're playing for that continuation towards that lower balance. And then if we take a look at, let's switch to this chart and then take this off. This is pretty much the low volume area I'm referring to. So kind of have this high volume area over here, this high volume area over here, and then all this in the middle. I would expect this to be filled in, and maybe, it plays out the short scenario, and then maybe it just trades sideways for the rest of the week. If that's the case, I mean, we kind of have two decent reference points to lean on, which is this high volume area up here, and then the high volume area below. But that's pretty much what I'm expecting for the short scenario. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Another variation of the short scenario is if we don't get that immediate break and an inability to get back above like Thursday and Friday's low. Another thing, like on Friday, we have that overnight stat, which is a high 90% stat, and the market just was able to dip in. There was a gap that was eventually filled because it felt like the market was out of gas. So it pulled back, filled the gap, and then started to go higher not higher. It started to attempt to go higher. We had the IB low break, and we just we the action was unable to make new highs. So one of the variants of the short would be, for wherever we're going to open, if we come in and we start to really churn and just are unable to get through Friday's full session VPOC area of 59.74, if we find just the inability to get above, then that's another nice possibility, a nice variant of the short, because then it shows that, okay, we're going to initially attempt to go higher, get stuck, and then shit ourselves. Basically, come on down. We could have a nice weak action around the lows and then an eventual break. That would be pretty cool. So, but that would be a nice short setup, because then it shows that, okay, we tried to check higher and we couldn't get above Friday's action, because we were stuck. It felt like the tires were stuck in the mud on Friday, and if that continues to play out, yeah, then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and seek lower. And another thing is, I mean, you mark that area, but those two high volume areas that we could ping pong between, but like all that balance, like if we come back into that balance area, oh man, it'd be really shitty to just ping pong between those 2 points. That is what is probably expected. But if all those players below us, had the hopes of going higher, and then we're coming back into that balance area, we could possibly check lower pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not going to just rip through, because we have very large high volume areas that are going to be defended. But yeah, some of the areas that you marked that were thin, I expect those not only to be filled in, but to be run through quick.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of interest that was supporting there, so that might get zipped pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, those two scenarios look pretty damn good. We'll have to see which one plays out, and we'll definitely have to see how the market opens in about 26 minutes.
Yeah, and I really like your variation of the short, which is, we test higher, because, if the market does gravitate towards this high volume area first and it's unable to break through, I mean, if you're getting a short over here, I would say you have a pretty decent wall. You could put your stop around, because expectation is it's not just going to run through this high volume area quickly, and if it is, that's just information you can use for the long trade. But if it's up here, it's stalling, and you get a short, I would say you can be pretty comfortable with your stop location, given that you're leading against a high volume area.
Pretty much I would probably say that's the most important decision point. The decision area or decision zone is pretty much Friday's VPOC. When we get up there, it's either shit, we can't get over it, initiate a short, have some really tight risk, and see how far we can go. Or if we're there, and if a short looks good and it gets stopped and it breaks that area and pulls back, then you have enough conviction to say, okay, you know what, that decision area was attempted to hold buyers to prevent them from getting higher. No, it broke. Now it's probably going to go ahead and be a pretty good support zone. So yeah, that is probably the biggest area of interest that will be that'll be for this week.
Yeah, for sure.
And then of course tomorrow is a holiday. So it might be shortened trading hours or light trading volume. So hopefully it doesn't. Well, we'll see. We'll have to see if the action's slow. If it's a muted Monday, we'll have to see what goes on.
Yeah, exactly. And then if anything, I mean, I'm sure the EU is always going to have action. So if nothing happens,
or the Europeans might just take everything from us and say, hey, fuck you. You're sleeping, and then we'll go ahead and take the action away from you, and then we'll wake up and it's at 61.60 already. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. Hopefully that's not the case, because that's the worst.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough to get on those trades.
Yeah.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
So should we just wrap it up over here?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. In the description below, me and Rob are testing out a Discord, so if you guys are interested, I would say join it because it's going to be free for now. But soon it might be a paid service, or not might, it will be a paid service. So we just want to see what we can improve on, and obviously get the feel of sort of running a community like that. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to leave a link in the description. It's free to join for now. And I think I'm just going to wrap it up over here.
That sounds good. Yeah. Crude oil only, no S&P 500, no NASDAQ, no Dow, no RTY.
Yeah.
None of that shit. We're just doing crude oil.
Yep.
So plenty of rooms out there for the others, but very few rooms that handle crude oil. That is our specialty. So, all right.
All right.
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.
Yep.